Hi, I'm Andy Ward. This summer I'm following the Oregon Trail across America. Right now I'm out here on the prairies of Nebraska, making history real by visiting the actual places where things happen. So come with me as I explore the Oregon Trail across Nebraska. Today I'm at Fort Kearney, which was a U.S. military base operated along the Oregon Trail on the Platte River in Nebraska. What I'm walking along here is where the actual parade grounds for the fort would have been. And if you've ever visited any western forts, I'm thinking of ones near where I'm at, like Fort Bowie, Fort Huachuca, Fort Lowell in southern Arizona. It's along the same plan. There's no actual fortification around one of these forts. There's no walls or pickets. But you have a large parade ground here with a flagpole in the middle, and then the buildings would have been organized around that central parade ground. Now most of the buildings here are gone. There's a couple that have been reconstructed, but it's interesting to walk around and see where the buildings were and kind of imagine what life was like. When this fort was built, this was really frontier. There was nothing out here but Indians and a few immigrants heading up the trail. This fort was abandoned shortly after the Transcontinental Railroad was built because that caused the traffic on the Oregon Trail to diminish greatly, and they didn't feel there was any need for the fort any longer. So it was abandoned for a long time. The buildings were allowed to decay, and there's nothing left here today except what they've reconstructed in recent years. Well, you can see they've got a cannon out here. They put a flagpole out in the parade ground, and they've delineated where the buildings are so you can get an idea of what it was like. There's lots of pictures, and they have a nice little museum. A fort like this would have been an important stopping place for a wagon train on the Oregon Trail, because here they could get resupplies, but also there were blacksmiths where they could get work done on their wagons, or they could get horses shod. So this was an important place for them to come to. And the first fort they would have reached after they left, say, the Missouri River in the east. Today I've come to California Hill. This is one of the major hills that the pioneers had to cross. It's in between the South Platte and the North Platte, here near Oglala, Nebraska. Let me tell you, I've looked at a few ruts up to this point, but this is the most impressive. For one thing, you're really out on the prairie, so you can get a real feel for what kind of environment the pioneers were in, what it really felt like to be here. And secondly, the ground here is really easily eroded, very soft. And as you can see behind me, the wagons have worn deeply into this soft soil. So here I am in the bottom. Of one of the larger cuts coming up California Hill. And you can see this is easily maybe 10 or 12 feet deep. And this was just worn by hundreds and hundreds of wagons passing through here over the course of a couple of decades. So really impressive stuff, and you can really get a feel for what it was like to be out here. It's dry and dusty. They would have only had the water they brought with them while they crossed over here. Very steep. This area is mentioned in many pioneer journals for the difficulty in crossing it. You can see there in the distance the South Platte that they would have been coming from. And crossing over this a few miles away, they would cross to the North Platte. Maybe they would have spent the night there. on the banks of the river, resting up, knowing that they had a big hill to cross the next day. Still, to cross this with everything you own, with a team of oxen and a wagon, would have been daunting. And knowing that you still had many, many miles left to go, many months more of travel. Okay, here I am at Windlass Hill. This is kind of the other side of the ridge from California Hill. This is where they went down. And it is incredibly steep. Would have scared the pants off of me trying to bring a wagon down this hill. The rut that they left going down is basically like an arroyo, a really steep gully. Of course, that's got maybe 100 years of erosion on top of it, but still, you can really see, locking their wheels to slow them down. They just basically gouged a rut straight down this hill. Take a look at this. I'm going to walk down to where that really steep portion starts. Let you see what that looks like where it goes straight down the hill. But here's the road as it starts down the slope, down the steeper portion. And then just beyond those juniper trees there, it gets really steep. All day today I've been following the North Platte upstream, and as I go, the valley has been getting narrower and the sides of the valley rockier, with some surprising rock formations along the side, and they seem to get closer and closer to the trail as you go. So the first we saw courthouse and jail rocks, and those were miles off the trail. And then we came to Chimney Rock, which was closer to the trail and a little more spectacular. Until finally, we come to Scotts Bluff, where I am here. And the trail literally passes right through these amazing rock formations. So this is the last big trail monument in Nebraska before I cross over into Wyoming. Let's take a look at what there is to see here in these beautiful country around Scotts Bluff. This is a national monument. So I finally made it across the western border of Nebraska into eastern Wyoming. So I'll go ahead and wrap up this Nebraska leg of my journey. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, subscribe to it so you know when the next video comes out. If you want to learn more about the Oregon Trail, check out my website, westwardgo.com. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.